Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am so happy and I am so grateful and excited to be here once again. This is something that I have been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And I am very thankful as well for those of you who watched my previous episode and this one as well. I have gotten a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback, and a lot of constructive feedback as well. One of the biggest ones was the audio. I do know that it was a little bit in and out for the last one. So this time around, I hope it sounds much, much better. I am a little bit more prepared, but nonetheless, I'm very excited to be here. For this segment, I went ahead and put a poll where I allowed some people to ask me questions, and I will be answering those questions today. And I do have my questions listed out, and I will go through them. But once again, thank you very, very, very much for following through with me, keeping up with me. For those of you who subscribed, that definitely, I have no words. I have never been one to really subscribe to people's channels, but now I see the importance of it, and just you guys telling me that you've been subscribing warms my heart. Like, it's the most flattering thing for me to hear, and it actually motivates me, and I can't wait to keep making more of these to entertain you guys and hopefully teach you guys a little bit more about me and different ways to go about living your life. So with that said, I will be going through the questions. I listed some of the funner questions in the beginning, and then we'll get a little bit more into the heavier content questions towards the end, if that sounds good. For starters, the first question was, what is your favorite takeout place and what is your order? So in general, when I go to any like fast food takeouts, no matter where I go, I always go with chicken option instead of beef or patties. And if that's like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, I will go with the spicy chicken sandwiches. I definitely eat In-N-Out, and In-N-Out does not have any chicken options, so I'm not opposed to it. But my favorite fast food place would be Angry Chicks. I've been going to it a lot lately, and it's not a common fast food place. In the Bay Area, I think they only have San Jose area and Sacramento area. So if you're close to either one of them, then you might be familiar. But if not, the order that I go with is a Mac Bowl, Angry Mac Bowl. And it's a bowl that has fries on the bottom, mac and cheese, and then on the top they put 2 slices of chicken, and they season it with very spicy seasoning. But they also have a thermostat where you can pick how spicy you want it. If you get the very top one, you have to write sign a waiver saying that you're consenting, you're doing this on your own because you want to, and if anything happens, they're not responsible because of how spicy the food can get. But I don't go that spicy. I stay somewhere in the middle, and every once in a while, I'll hit the hot one. And the hot one is hot. When I do hot, I'll only do one hot, one medium, because I need to balance it out a little bit. But lately they told me that I couldn't do 1 and 1. I had to do the same for both. So I went with medium, and it's just way more delicious. The flavor is more rich, and I really, really enjoy it. And the mac and cheese is delicious. As a kid, I always got mac and cheese no matter what restaurant we went to. So that is definitely my favorite takeout spot. What is your style and what influenced it? So my style can definitely vary. As a little girl, when I was growing up, I always wore big dresses. I always had my up hairdos, and I loved it. I felt super confident in it because that was my style. Once I was able to kind of decipher for myself, I was also living with a lot of boys at the time. and they were very effortless, and I was super jealous, and they were able to just get up and go, and they were like my buddies, my best friends. So like I would mimic their what do you call it? Like their routine. And I didn't do my hair, and I would wear hoodies and sweats and basketball shorts and whatever guys would wear. That's what I was wearing, not only around the house, but sometimes I would go to school in that as well. So I was definitely a big tomboy for a chunk of my life. And then when I got to high school, I started really experimenting with a little bit of both. And there were moments where I was super baggy, but then there was moments where I was super girly. And I would wear little shorts, I would do my makeup, I would straighten my hair, and I would wear purses sometimes. And it really threw me off because my girly era was when I was up until I was like 6 years old, I want to say. And then my tomboy phase went through middle school at times. And then when I was in high school, I was experimenting more. In college, I was like an in between. I would just do regular jeans and a t shirt. And sometimes I would put on some makeup and go. But today, I would say my style is a little bit more on the señora vibes, but still modern. So I would call it like a semi modest. For example, this is a completely covered up shirt, and it doesn't reveal anything, but I feel really cute and I feel really confident, and I did my hair and I did my makeup. So I feel like that goes a long way. Also, even when it comes to jeans, I take my time to think about what pants I'm gonna wear. Right now, I'm wearing some Levi jeans that are not super fitted. They're a little bit loose. So I would say comfortable is definitely the name of the game for me. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel like I can run if I need to run, like I can look pretty if I need to. If I'm gonna come across somebody on the street at a Starbucks, I want to feel at least presentable in that aspect. So, not going above and beyond. I don't mean to stand out against the crowd, but I do want to. Standing out against the crowd can be good and bad too. Sometimes you could be like overdressed, sometimes you could be very underdressed where you stand out. But I kind of want to be in the middle, but to where I feel good and I look good. Like right now, I would feel comfortable running to Costco or meeting somebody on the street or filming this video. So that's kind of more my style nowadays. Also, business casual. I love the business attire. I love the slacks. I like them a little more flowy. I enjoy wearing heels, but I won't do heels and like everything else super tight and revealing. I would do, for example, for Thanksgiving, I wore a crew neck, like a Christmas crew neck that was loose with some baggy jeans with no rips, and I wore heels. So it was literally a hoodie, jeans, and heels. And I felt super cute because my hair was done and my makeup was done. So I think that's more the vibe that I go. Like, as long as my hair and my makeup are done, I think I just wear plain neutral colors on my body and maybe throw on a jacket. And I call it a day. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But of course, style definitely changes depending on the weather, depending on the season, and the stage in your life that you're in. So that's currently me right now. And what influenced it as well is the fact that I'm at home now. I don't go out as much as I used to. I spend the majority of my time at home. So I want to be comfortable. What can I say? But I also kind of want to look a little good too. So that's where I'm at right now. What is your favorite song? What's your favorite album? And who's your favorite artist? So if you know me, I love music. I'm a little bit obsessed with music. I think sometimes music will determine my mood, my vibe, and whenever I'm with people, I usually tend to be the DJ because I know all like the different genres, and I know what mainstream music is, and I know some of like the throwback songs that are really good as well. So I would say right now, because of the phase of my life that I'm in, I like the song Lovin' on Me by Jack Harlow. And I actually struggled a lot to figure out what song this was going to be because I'm not finding any really, really good songs right now. I would say I'm currently listening a lot to like banda, and I'm kind of sizzling out of the reggaeton phase. Not that I'm going to be leaving it, but I think it's just like there's not a song right now in reggaeton that I'm like, ooh, this is fire. In terms of my favorite artist, it's been Bad Bunny for a few years. I've loved Bad Bunny. I went to Bad Bunny's concert when he first started getting famous, and it was nearly empty. Nobody was there. He was singing trap. But right now, he released a new trap album, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I didn't listen to the full album, and I am the type to listen to full albums, whether it be Bad Bunny, whether it be Taylor Swift, whether it be a Drake album. I listen to the full albums, but I couldn't follow through with the full Bad Bunny album. I don't know if it's just me or why that is. If you can relate, like maybe help me understand what it is. I don't want to seem like I'm a fake fan because I'm not a fake fan. Like I've always liked his music. Even before he dropped an album, I loved all his features. But right now, I wouldn't say there's an artist that I love. I also feel like Karol G is starting to become a little super mainstream, and her music is just evolving in the sense where I feel like she just wants to please the people. And antes la música era poquito más personal, poquito más there was more art in the music, I felt, than now. It's just a little bit more mainstream, which there's nothing wrong with mainstream, but sometimes I like it when it's more low key. Like when they're on the come up. When artists are on the come up, I think is when I like it the most, if that makes sense. But I really like right now Camilo. Camilo is not making a lot of music, but he's kind of like an indie. He's very like hippie vibes, but I love his energy. I love what he sees in other people, and I love that his music is very to his soul, very personalized music. And I listen to him and I follow him as a person. I'm in his like Instagram broadcasting channel where they send like private DMs, and I really like what he has to say. I really like the way he talks to his audience, and I like the way he talks about other people. He made this post, so if any of you follow him as well, there's this post that made me like really feel like, damn, I love Camilo. Publicó un video hablando de su experiencia cuando conoció a Messi when he moved out here to Miami. And he was saying that Messi is such a great person, not because of his skill and because of how famous he's gotten, but because of who he is at his core. He talked about the way he treated him. He talked about what makes Messi Messi outside of just his skills. And I loved that because that's also what I see in other people. And the phase that I'm at in my current life right now, I feel like that's what I'm trying to embody. I'm trying to figure out who I am at the core and what I want to do or represent myself as, how I want to treat people. That goes with like books as well. Like I'm just trying to rediscover myself and what I like. And it has nothing to do with mainstream. It's not about my favorite song. It's not about what's cool, what's in right now. It's about what do I like to do when nobody's watching. And I think that's what Camilo looks at when he looks at other people too. So right now I would say Camilo, but my favorite album definitely has to be El Último Tour del Mundo. Yes, I know that album is a little controversial, but I listened to all of Bad Bunny's albums, and that specific album, I played it when I went on a road trip to Oregon. And during that time, I was still single, but so I was supposed to go to Mexico because I always go to Mexico in December. But for whatever reason, I lagged on buying my ticket, and last minute I was like, I'm not really vibing it. And it was right before COVID, or I don't know, it was around the COVID time. Maybe it was the year of COVID, I'm not sure. But I was just like, I'm not really feeling it. And I hit up this guy randomly and was like, hey, I'm thinking about going on a road trip to Oregon. Would you be down to go with me? It's literally just me. Are you down? Me and you. And he said yes, which I didn't expect, but I was happy he said yes because I really wanted to do it and I really wanted to go with him. And we went on the road trip super last minute. And I played the album on my way there. And mind you, this was December. So it was really, really raining. Once we got to Oregon, it started snowing. And even on our way back, it was like a blizzard. And it got crazy on the freeway. But just like being in the rain and a long road trip from where I live to Oregon, it's about 13 hours or so. So the whole time, imagine just listening to music and seeing the forest area. It was a cool experience that I would never change for anything. And that album reminds me a lot of that trip because a lot of the songs on the album are very nostalgic as well. So it fit perfectly into the December vibes and it fit perfectly into well, I had never been to Oregon before, but it fit the Oregon vibes. If you've ever been, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that guy that I invited ended up being now my boyfriend. So many years later, that album is still kind of at my heart. So yeah, I love that album. How many places have you traveled to? Which place is your favorite? And would you go again? So within the US, I have been to 8 states, and I do include the state that I live in just because I've traveled the whole state. Like from border to borders, like I've been everywhere within the state. So I would say 8 of them. That includes Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia, California, Oregon, Washington, and Texas and Nevada. In Mexico, so I do go from here to Mexico pretty often, and there was a moment where I traveled Mexico a lot just to kind of explore, and I've been to 6 states out there. That would be Guadalajara, Zacatecas, Michoacán, Oaxaca, Veracruz, La Capital, and that's 6. I don't know, have I been to Puebla before? I've been to Nayarit also. I went to Sayulita, and then I went to Nueva Vallarta, and I've been to a few other towns around Nayarit. I don't know if that would count as being there, but I would still count it because I drove through it too. It was a road trip, so yeah. Is that 7? That's 7, I think. And then outside of Mexico and the US, I have been to 9 other countries. That includes the UK, so England or Britain, whatever you want to call it, the UK, London. Wait, that is the UK. Okay, so I've been to London, which is in the UK. I've been to Italy, which I also went to Rome, Milan, and Venice. I went to Spain, which was Barcelona and Madrid. I went to Germany, just Berlin. I went to Russia, St. Petersburg. I was there actually for my birthday. I went to Finland. I lived there for almost 2 months, I want to say. And I was in Helsinki and Jyväskylä. And I went to Sweden, which is Stockholm. And I went to France, Paris, of course. And I went to the United Emirates, which is Dubai. I went to Dubai and it was such a cool experience. I went to Dubai with family, my mom and some tias, and we had a lot of fun out there. There's a lot of things to do. I would definitely go to Dubai again just because I feel like I did a lot of the mainstream things, like go to the mall, do the camelback riding, but I would want to do other things like go on tours, look at museums. I love that experience. That's mainly what I did when I went to Russia. I was on tours, I went to so many temples. I saw so many different things out there. I loved it. I would go again to Russia. But the place that I fell in love with the most would be Italy. I would go to Italy hands down. I wouldn't go to many places again just because I want to be able to explore many different places. But if somebody wanted to go and they were like, hey, I want to do this for my birthday, or I want to do this for whatever reason, like I want to travel to this place, I would go. But Italy is probably a place that I would want to go to. It was really fun. They speak Italian, but it's similar to Spanish, and I felt like I was able to understand them a little bit. So I would definitely go to Italy again. I loved it. I also loved the culture in Italy. I loved the history. Oh my God, going and looking at the Colosseum was mind blowing. A lot of places in Italy still look like what you would think of when you would imagine like Rome back in the day, the antiqueness. It's definitely a place to visit. If you haven't been, I would definitely recommend it. What is your biggest achievement this far? There's a lot of ways that I can take this question. Usually when people think achievements, they think about their job, which don't get me wrong, I've achieved a lot in the work environment as well, but that wouldn't be my biggest achievements. For me, my biggest achievement would simply be, and this is gonna sound super like cursi and super like cringy, but for me, it's my relationship. It is my biggest achievement so far. And being stable, the fact that we have our own place, I have an apartment, we handle our own bills, we don't live under anybody else, we can do whatever we want, come in and out of the house whenever we want. That to me is one of the biggest accomplishments. I can host whoever I want and decide to not let somebody in if I don't want to invite them over. Everything is completely up to me, and I love that. So having my own place is definitely my biggest accomplishment. On top of also like my finances, I struggled a lot with money coming out of high school, but I definitely brought that around, and I have made a huge impact in my own life thanks to my ability to manage my money and be disciplined with my spending, to the point where right now I'm able to do this. And I'm literally doing it just for fun because I enjoy it. And I don't have to think about money, and I don't have to stress about getting my bills paid. That is my personal biggest accomplishment. I am also very thankful that I've been able to meet so many people. I've been able to travel to so many places. I've been able to do so much with my life that I would have never imagined possible. Things that I hope everybody watching can get to do at some point in their life. Even if it's not your dream goal to travel, I hope that you get to travel to at least one place in your life. Just do it. Buy a ticket, save up. It's not that expensive. If you can manage to save anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000, that is plenty to get you somewhere. When I went to Europe, my first time traveling to Europe, I did a trip to multiple states, multiple countries, and I did not spend over $2,000, and one of my flights got canceled and I had to rebook it, and that was still under $2,000. So my flight there, my flight back, everywhere that I stayed, everywhere that I ate, everything that I did, it was definitely worth it. You don't have to Uber, taxi everywhere. There's metros. Don't be scared. It's actually pretty safe when you're traveling. It's an experience that I wish with everybody. And also being financially responsible, financially stable is something that I wish everybody was able to do. I understand not everybody comes from the same background in terms of money. Your parents might have had a very unique experience with money. You probably grew up thinking about money in a specific way, but I guarantee you money circles the world, and money is not something you should worry about or stress about because money is everywhere. You just have to gravitate it, find ways to get money. Everybody has money. Even the person who doesn't have money. I heard this girl say like, un drogadito no te va a decir, hoy no voy a hacer drogas porque no tengo dinero. No, ellos van a encontrar el dinero para hacer lo que quieren hacer. So, ¿tú por qué no te puedes poner las pilas y también encontrar el dinero para hacer lo que tú quieras hacer? Es muy sencillo. So, realistically speaking, just find a way. Manage to do it and do it. I know that sounds very like, who does she think she is? She doesn't know my situation. Everyone's on a different boat. Maybe right now is not the time for you to go. Don't do anything irresponsible with your money, but maybe next year will be a better year financially for you. Right now I'm in a good situation financially, and I might be in a not so good situation next year, but it doesn't scare me because I know how to get money again. So that's my mindset in terms of it. And I'm glad I got there because I used to really, really stress out about money. Go on social media and start talking about money. People will respond to you and give you tips. That's what happened with me. Once I started learning about money, I started posting it and everybody was giving me their advice. Some of it was really good advice. Some of it was not the best advice, but people will give you advice. And it's for you to discern what advice is the best. That's what I'll say. But let's see. What is your biggest life lesson so far? So on top of what I already said, another one of my life lessons is en cada cabeza hay un mundo, y mi mamá lo dice muchísimo. Mi mamá siempre te va a decir, en cada cabeza hay un mundo, and it's true. Just because you think one way doesn't mean that everybody thinks the same way. There's a lot of different opinions in this world, and everybody has their own limiting beliefs. If you don't know what that is, I highly suggest you look up limiting beliefs. Everybody struggles with that. I have my own limiting beliefs. My sister has her own limiting beliefs. My boyfriend has his own limiting beliefs. My friends have their own limiting beliefs. But all of our beliefs are different based on our parents, based on, and even our parents, our grandparents have their own limiting beliefs out of their own parents. So I really just think other people's opinion, it's good to care about what people think because sometimes it's a good thing. Like people care about you, people want the best for you. But I also think some people are scared to do certain things, and even the person that loves you the most, they might be scared to encourage you to push your limits because they've never done it and they want you to be safe. A person that really loves you wants safety for you. And if they don't know and if they've never done what you want to do, they might be inclined to not push you towards it. For example, social media. Some people might be scared to encourage you to do social media because they're scared to do it themselves because they think a lot about other people's opinion, which it is something that matters. And I definitely do care about your specific opinion as well. But I think you have your own limiting beliefs compared to my limiting beliefs. And in my journey of trying to start social media, I struggled a lot. My mental health was affected, and all I was doing was posting on Instagram. And I had to learn the hard way, like either you're going to get over it and achieve what you want to achieve, or you're going to let it dominate you and push that wish aside, push that dream aside. It's decisions that we all have to make, limiting beliefs that we all have to overcome in a sense. And I think therapy helped me out a lot. I went to therapy when I was in high school and a little bit in college as well. And that definitely helped me. I haven't done it these past few years, but it definitely helped. And I would really, really recommend therapy to anybody. Something else that I have been working on is journaling and self-reflecting. Since I don't do therapy anymore, I figured I can help myself. I can therapy myself, and self-reflecting is one of the best ways to do that. Journaling your thoughts. If you're ever like, oh, I have this situation and there's different ways that I can go about it, I don't know which way to do it, journal it and write. This is what happened. This is what I'm thinking of doing. These are my two options. This would be the outcome of this option. This would be the outcome if I go about it this way. And solita tú sola vas a decir, this is the way that I want to go about it. So I would really say journaling is something that I'm still working on, my consistency. Only you are the critic of how much and how disciplined you want to be. So if you want to do it every day, go ahead. If you want to do it every week, go ahead. If you want to do it every month, go ahead. But that is something that I have been telling myself to be more empathetic within myself about. Like, go easy on yourself. You don't have to do it every day. So that is something that I am working on, self-reflecting and giving myself permission to not be perfect. That. Another question is, what is the best book that you've read? This is going to sound so crazy and you might be like, oh my God, here she goes again. But I think the Bible has been really fun to read because there's a lot of stories in there that I'm like, what? No way. God is a little, a little vocal and says things in his stories that I'm like, whoa, he did not just say that. Like, it's it's interesting. It's very interesting. I will say that. If you haven't read it, if you've only heard what other people say about it, I recommend you read it. It's really a story. It's really a book. It's a lot of different stories put together. And just know that you're missing out if you haven't read. Whether you believe it or not, whether it's something you want to do in your life, like follow that path of like religion or not, completely up to you. But I think reading it there's a lot of funny things in there. There's a lot of like, whoa, sexy things in there. There's a lot of crazy stories too of like bad historical things that have happened to people. There's a lot of life lessons as well where it's like, oh, dang, like that's a good point. Like that makes a lot of sense. That's something that I would consider doing within my own life. There's things where I'm like, whoa, God did not just say that. But I would say that's one of the best reads that I've been doing. Also, do I have it down here? Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a book that I've enjoyed reading. This book, it taught me how to be financially responsible. It taught me how to manage my money. It taught me how to think about money, about work, how to save, how to invest. One simple passage that I will read. It says, most people have a price, and they have a price because of human emotions named fear and greed. First, the fear of being without money motivates us to work hard. And then once we get that paycheck, greed or desire starts to think about all the wonderful things that money can buy. And then you start spending. The pattern is then set. Because as you're spending your money, you're scared to be broke. And then then you get money and then you want to spend it. And that's when the pattern is set. And he goes, this is what I call the rat race. The rat race is something you do not want to be stuck in. And he goes into examples telling you how to get out of it, if you're in it, how to avoid it, if you're still learning how to make money, and what to do with your money, pretty much. And it's a really, 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 really good book. If you ever felt desperate, like, I don't have enough money, I'm always struggling with money. If you have a bad relationship with money, if money gives you anxiety, if money stresses you out, that's definitely a book I would recommend for you to read. And right now, I love this book so much. Oh my god, I love this book so much. It's a very fantasy book. It reminds me a lot. I'm like halfway with it. When I first talked about it, I was maybe like 20 pages in or less. Now I'm at page 260 or 280. 280. And it's so cool. It's about dragons. It reminds me a lot of Avatar and how they pair up with those animals, whether they're dragons or whatever they are, they fly. Here they're dragons, and it's a little bit of a relationship book as well. There's this girl that's a teenager, or maybe she just turned 18 or something like that. And it's very refreshing because I'm out of that stage. I'm 25 and I think back on myself and I'm like, damn, I was wild. Like, I was crazy. I would say whatever came to my mind. I would act on whatever I thought was cool or the best thing to do. And this girl's literally like that. So it's super refreshing for me to hear that perspective, and it's super fun. I love it. I would recommend it to anybody that wants to get into reading. This is a super fun book. And from the beginning, it starts off really, really fast. Like, the first chapter is very interesting. Those are the books that I would recommend if anybody wants to get into. If you've already been reading, the Bible is difficult to read. So maybe read it with somebody, or I don't know. That one's a hard one. I don't know how to recommend you start. But the other books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a self-help book. So it's going to get very boring, very logical, very literal. So definitely maybe skim through it, read it pretty quickly. You'll learn a lot, even if you just simply glance over everything. But if you just want a fun read, Coleen Hoover, oh my god, she has the most twisted books. I swear I can talk about all these books non-stop. There's a lot of crazy things that happen in her books. They start off one way and they always end a different way. I have like about 9 or 10 of her books and I've read them all, and I even got these little stickers. Her books are amazing. That's all I have to say. If you only had to read one book from Coleen Hoover, I would say either Hopeless. This is about teenagers though, so maybe not, but the story is really good. It's really, really good. And the other one, It Ends With Us. This one. These two are probably my favorite of hers. This one, the plot is very relationship based, self-love based. This one is there's a lot of relationship stuff, but it's not about the relationship. It's about her life, about the girl's life. So I would recommend those books. And that's my little rant about books, because I can continue going all day and make this whole video about books. I don't know if that's what you guys want or not, but let's move on to the next topic before we get carried away. Hot or cold? Soy bien friolenta. I get so cold easily. Like right now, before I started this, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be there talking forever. And it's freezing, so I had to turn on the heater before I started talking. And I usually keep it like at 72. Yes, I keep my thermostat at 72 because I need it to be warm. There was moments where I would literally chill in my car when it was super hot and I didn't have a lot of money. And I would like challenge myself to breathe slowly so I can breathe in the heat. Because I would rather it be hot like that than to be cold. I cannot function when it's cold. And what is your goal for 2024? Networking and socializing. I don't have a car, which is what makes it very difficult. But I do hope to socialize more, to talk to people more, to get out of my zone, out of my little bubble more. Last year, I was very isolated and to myself. But this year, I really, 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 really want to start talking to more people, hanging out with more people. I don't know how I'm going to manage to do that without a car, but that is my goal. I need to figure it out. So If you live close by or you want to hang out, definitely. No guarantees, but I want that to be my goal. I want to go to events more, do more networking, and try to grow this channel more, give you guys more about my experience, my insight on my life, and hopefully try to bring people on so that you guys can meet them too and get to know a little bit about who I hang out with, what types of conversations I involve myself in. I know I'm kind of giving a professional vibe right now, but I promise you my whole life is not like this. There are moments where I'm just like loose and fun and out there and outgoing and, you know, say bad words from time to time. And I can be very, very fun. Let's just leave it at that. But I am outgrowing it a little bit into a good thing. I'm kind of happy where my life is headed. So that is it for today. I hope you got a really good perspective and I hope you enjoyed listening to me for this time. For the next one, I hope to have a guest on here and show you guys a little bit about their life and a little bit behind the scenes, and so you guys can get to know me and that person and just, I don't know, share a little bit about more experiences. And if you guys have any recommendations, anything you guys want to see of me on this channel, let me know, and I am happy to make any adjustments or accommodations as necessary and talk to you guys about any topic. If there's more about something you want to hear, I am happy to express my thoughts. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed your time here, and I hope you guys can come back to the next one because it only gets better and better. Enjoy your week.